Greetings, greetings, greetings. TGIF, everyone. How are you? What's going on? What's happening? Hope you're doing well. I know it was a long week. At least it was for me. And we made it through. And so did you. at the sound of my voice, you made it through as well. So I hope it wasn't too painful for you. The middle of the month. And I had forgot to tell you guys last week about the extension for filing your taxes that had been extended to May 17th. It would have been nice to tell you that last Friday, but hey, maybe some people have forgotten. I don't know. But yeah, I didn't get a chance to mention that to you guys. So, yes, it has been extended to May 17th. So, if you have not done so, no worries, no penalties for you. Also, the Johnson & Johnson vaccines has been paused. And that was the phrase they used, paused, not recalled, but paused, meaning let's see who else has some blood clots and have problems. And then if it seems all right, then we're going to probably continue to issue this vaccine. Oh, yeah. They made this announcement on the 13th. And I'm like, wow. And this is the one that has the one shot. It doesn't have the two. So that's the one that's being paused, if you will. And there is a surge as far as the COVID cases in Illinois, rather. And I'm not sure what they're going to do yet, but there is a surge here. And as of Monday, that's coming up, vaccines will be available to everyone. Because at first it was just, those like seniors, those who were at higher risk. But now, as of Monday, it'll be open up to everyone. Yes. And let's see what I got for you. I'll give you the article for the Johnson & Johnson pause, as they call it. So at least you'll have that. You can check it out and you can tell a friend. Oh, in Michigan too. Okay. And you can tell a friend so that way, because you never know who's going to get it, who has what. And at least it tells you the symptoms to watch out for because you never know. I think it's up to 21 days that you can get that blood clot. So do pass that on, read it, tell a friend. Also, I have a link to give you guys. Hallmark is giving away 3 greeting cards for free. That's right. Free, y'all. Free. Isn't that a nice price? That's a excellent price. So tell a friend and sign up yourself. I always like to have at least a couple of greeting cards in the house because you never know when a birthday may come up. Thinking of you, and thinking of you, you can always write whatever it is. So if maybe someone is not feeling well, or you just thinking of the person, the card is, you can use the card. So it has its purposes. And let's see what else I was going to tell you. Oh, I saw where the Fast and Furious is having a trailer for their new movie, and it's part 9. I'm like, 9? Don't you stop around 3 or 4, and then after that, you just rename it to something else? But no, they actually have a part 9. So I don't know what's that all about. People do what they want, but I think that's a bit much. A lot of times the story ends maybe about 2 or 3. Once they continue, it normally doesn't do too well, even those that name the series something else. But the gentleman, I can't remember his last name. I know his first name was Paul, that had died in an accident. I think that would have been a nice place to end the name Fast and Furious, but they continued. Let's see what happens. And then the last thing I am just appalled at. I got an email from Walgreens saying that I can have my FedEx packages rerouted to them and they will give me $5 off my purchase of $30 or more. I don't know about you, but I had to give up Walgreens. I couldn't take them. I don't care where you go. If it's a sale, $3, $4, they're only going to have two on the shelf. Even the first day of the sale, you can walk in the first day, which is normally Sunday. It can be 9 o'clock in the morning. You got a couple of people in there on their way to church. They stop by to get some pantyhose or lipstick or whatever, little small item. You go there looking for those sales, and what do you see? An empty shelf or one or two items. So now you got to hunt someone down. And then once you hunt them down, they got to go and call someone because, of course, it's not their area. So once they call someone and that person finally comes, and then they'll either give you the bad news immediately or they'll tell you, just one moment, I have to go to the back to see if we have it. So that's another wait. So I've found that Walgreens shopping, it takes a minimum of 30 minutes when the sale first starts. Oh Lord, and don't have a coupon. Oh, you could just you can forget it. That just makes it worse. I'm not dealing with these people. I've done that for years and years. I am done. I have left Walgreens alone. I've written them off in I think it was 2018. I was done with them. I had a product and I had returned it, and the manager, he couldn't figure out how to return a thing. Well, first the cashier, she couldn't figure nothing out. So she calls the manager. He couldn't figure it out. So he gave me what he wanted me to have. That's a no-no. You don't give me what you want me to have. You give me what's on that receipt. So he says, well, at our store, the cost is whatever it was. I said, no, I tell you what, just leave it alone. Don't worry about it. Give me my product and my receipt back. I'll take it back where I got it from. Thank you very much. Have a good day. So I think it was the next day, which was a Sunday. I went to the original place, which means now I got to go further down the road to take an item back that had a Walgreens not far from me in my neighborhood. So what that meant is I had to spend money to get my money back because the manager in that neighborhood didn't know what the heck he was doing. So I dealt with that. I did not like it, and that was my last time. I was done with them. Now there's just many times that I had, bad experience with them. I was just fed up at that time. And again, like I said, they never have all the products on the shelf. I should not know that your store truck comes in on Tuesday. I should know your shipping days. That's not my concern. I just want the product. I got to come back on Tuesday because I can't get a rain check because one, you can't find the book. That's a whole thing in itself. You see the rain check book? No. Did you see it? Uh-uh. Oh, wait a minute. I think he got it. Oh, he's in the back. Let me page him. So enough of that foolishness. I said, forget it. It is not worth it. So I've just written off Walgreens. You can keep it. I'm done. The end. Oh, yeah. And then you want me to send my package, my FedEx package to you? You can't even keep up with a rain check book, but yet you want me to send my package to you. Think that I'm going to get it. You're going to find it and you're going to keep up with the FedEx sheet of the login? I don't think so. I don't think so. Get out of here with that. But anyway, like I said, I was just appalled. How dare them? This foolishness. Can't even keep up with a rain check book. And then you want my package. And then you want to give me $5 off, but I have to spend 30. Okay, I'm done ranting. I'm done. Woosah. Yes, woosah. Yeah, really tragic.
Tragic.
Yeah, that's how I really felt about that. But anyway, without further ado, we're going to welcome you know who. So you all can stand, you can raise your hands in the air, whatever you want to do. You know who it is. So without further ado, we're going to bring the lovely, the wonderful, the classic group, everybody. Classic group, everybody. Oh, yeah.
Turn down for what?
Woo!
Yes. I love a new intro. It makes me feel special because I know you were thinking about me through the week and said, you know what? What could we do to make Ruby smile this lovely TGIF Friday? And I smiled, Char. I did. So thank you very much. Thank you very much for that.
You are welcome.
Mhm.
So
I
welcome.
gotta say, y'all, you gotta tune in tomorrow because if the blood clots was not enough for you to look sideways at the at least the one vaccine, because it's not all, it's just that one. I got more information to make you look sideways at the vaccine that's continuing and they're opening up to everyone. Yeah, and it's very much like I actually predicted at the beginning. So y'all better tune in tomorrow for that. Just saying. But Shar, I was really, I mean, see Hallmark, right? So they're giving away free cards, and that makes me think.
Mm-hmm.
First, I want to know: are they free paper cards or like e-cards?
They're free paper cards.
Okay, see, because I think this is what happened. Um, People were barely buying paper cards anyway because you got just like the lazy generation, like millennials down, who like they're like, yo, no one reads the card anyway, or they do like perfunctorily because they have to because their mom is there, and then they put it down and immediately forget. And you spent like $7 on that stupid nice card for them, right? So now we just give people a gift. I'll tell you it's from me. I'm there when you're opening it. What do you need the card for? Right? Like, it's only like grandmamas and aunties and stuff that give cards anymore. So people are already not buying cards. But now with the whole COVID thing, like no one's going into stores half the time to buy gifts. They're just ordering on Amazon and stuff like that. And again, they're just putting the little gift note to you from me. Enjoy. Because again, they understand that spending $5 plus shipping and delivery and all that foolishness to send a card, someone's going to look at it and go, oh yeah, I got your card. Yeah, yeah, I got it. But the gift is awesome, and ignore the card. And you spent $7 plus like $10 to ship it, and it's no one's doing that. So they're like trying to like give them away. Like please, guys, don't make us completely irrelevant. Don't go completely to e-cards that are like free, guys. Please, we can't shut down. We've come too far. So that's what I heard. That's what I heard when you said they're giving away free cards. I'm just saying.
Yeah, that's something. But there's a lot of people that, in offices, um, and then when it comes down to different, parties, and it depends on the gift, the type of gift.
Mhm.
People do appreciate those cards. Plus,
I
especially if a gift card is in
That's
it.
what I was gonna say. I only want a card. I only get excited to see a card because I think there's gonna be money in it. If I open that card and your ignorant self just thought the thought alone counted and you didn't have to put money into the card, I'm a little bit disappointed. I'm just gonna be all the way 100 with you. Like, how dare you? How dare you give me this worthless card thing and then not put no money in it. That's what it's supposed to be, a money delivery system, right? Without being tacky. Just put some money in an envelope, write my name on it. Although someone did that for my wedding and I thought it was hilarious. So they took money, they put money into the envelope and sealed it, and then they wrote their name on the outside of the envelope, right? Because it's all going into the same money box, right? So obviously we know who it's going to. So he wrote his name on the outside, so that way we would know it was from him. Oh man, I love when you have your from the back in the days old school hood friends. They're amazing. I love them. But you see what I'm saying? You
Yeah.
don't even need the card. Just get the envelope and put some money into it. Trust me, everyone will be happy. No one's gonna go, Where's the card? Except your mama, your auntie, your grandma. You know what I mean? Everyone
Uh-huh.
will just be happy for the money. That's all I'm saying. It's all right. You don't need the card. Save the $7 plus tax. That's what I'm saying.
Shame. Just
I
shame.
know. I know.
All right. So for the letter, I read half the letter and used that as an upload, and I will read the rest of it. So I'll play the letter for the audience for those who, oh, look who came on time.
Check her out rolling in on time. All right, girl, we
Okay.
see you. Okay.
So I'll play the letter and then I will read the rest of it, put it together, and then we'll open up and have the conversation.
All right.
That is how we'll do it. So let's see here.
This is how we'll do it.
Yeah.
I got into the groove. All right, you got one, Char. You got one, right? So, like, is it like one line per show now? Like, I mean, how much are we expanding this one line gymnast, right?
See, just a little here and a little there. I don't ask for much, do I?
Mm, you see this music? You see this over here? She pushing her luck, but we can't do nothing about it because it's her show, right? So, like, what are we gonna do?
Oh, don't be like that.
Mhm.
All right. Here we go. Let's see, volume up. Yep. The letter is from a young lady, and it reads that her and her boyfriend met, and things moved rather quickly. Within 6 weeks, not only were they living together, but she found out that she was pregnant. Now, she was a little panicky because it's a new relationship. We just moved in and it's fresh. Everything was all well. A little time went past, a holiday came up, and her boyfriend went to go visit his mother, who happened to live in France. While visiting his mother, because he was there for a month, she had passed away. The girlfriend went to go visit and, support him. He stayed with the stepfather. Now, his stepfather was married to the mother, and he was raised by his stepfather. So they end up staying there during the time that they were there for the month, and they didn't have to worry about a hotel. After the month, they end up going back home, and around Christmas, that's when she had the baby. She said things were fine. After she had the baby, a few weeks later, her boyfriend had an idea, and the idea was to move to France, and that way they'll be near his family, which was his stepfather, his father, and a couple of aunts. And the reason why he mentioned that to her is because his stepfather was 70 years old and he needed a little help. Plus, he was still taking it pretty hard for losing his wife that they've been together for so long. And it had been like 4 months or so. And he just wasn't doing too well. So this was something, he had discussed obviously with the dad. So he approached his girlfriend and said, okay, this is my idea. Let's move permanently to France. We got family there, or I have family there, which is your family as well. And I'm going to start a business. I'm going to start a restaurant business. Not only that, I'll be able to take care of you and the child, and you don't have to worry about working. So she thought about it, and it was a good idea. So she told her mom, because she had her mom there in the States, and she went on to say, hey, Mom, I'm going to go ahead and move my boyfriend to France. Of course, I'm going to come back and visit you. But I think this is a great opportunity. So she went on and left and moved to France with her boyfriend. They stayed with the stepfather, and what ended up happening is there was a tradition to eat lunch and dinner together as a family, and that is something that they did all the time. Once her boyfriend started getting more busier with the restaurant business as well as remodeling a home that they were going to move in for themselves, she became very depressed because she did not see her boyfriend that often. She was always at home with the stepfather and her baby. The stepfather did not speak English, and the girlfriend did not know how to speak French. She felt very isolated because she didn't know the language, and she was at home again all the time with the stepfather. And the next thing you know, depression starts setting in. She did end up seeing someone, a therapist, and she ended up prescribed antidepressant medications. This went on some time, and she spoke to her boyfriend about it, and he says he's almost done remodeling the unit so they can move into this particular home and they'll have their own place. Fast forward 2 months after that conversation, and she's still having lunch and dinner with the stepfather that does not understand English, nor does she understand French. She was at her wit's end. On the third month, the home was almost completed because the boyfriend is working diligently, trying to build up his restaurant, trying to have a home for him and his girlfriend and his child. And now the stepfather, he started dating. The woman that the stepfather is dating, she moves into the place and now she's making changes and she's really filling out a place now. So she approached the boyfriend and said, I cannot take this. Something must change. Tune in tonight to the conclusion of the letter. All right, all right, all right.
Wow. Yeah, that's deep. That's deep. It's like every time I thought we were gonna, go left, well, we went right. Okay. And it's just like, first I was like, first I thought the issue was gonna be he wanted to move to France, and then she had an issue with that. Nope, nope, she moved to France. Okay. Then I thought like every single time we got to a certain like junction, I thought we were gonna go left there, and then we didn't. So now we're here, and I'm like, huh, where does this conclude? But you know what? God bless you, sister, for giving us a decent amount of information. Like, I don't know why no one understands. We need this much information to give you real advice and to give you real insight. Thank you. How, man, I would kiss your feet if you were in front of me. Not really, but like, metaphorically, because I don't know, I find food gross. But thank you. Thank you for all the details so far. Mm, I-
Yeah, she got a lot of details, and I got to kind of get through some of it the way she writes. So
Mhm.
bear with me. We're going to do this. Now, I have one small little, I'm not going to really say correction, and maybe it is a correction for the renovations that they're doing. So they'll have a place. It's part of the stepfather's house.
Oh,
Um, and that's why she said they feel like they're being pushed out.
right. Okay.
All right. Okay. So this is also what she says. She feels some kind of way because the stepfather is 70 years old. This is funny. He got him a new girlfriend. You think about that. But anyway,
Mhm.
the stepfather started dating, and the woman that he seen knew the mother that passed away. So the girlfriend is feeling some kind of way about that because it's only been 6 months since the woman passed away. And she's already moved herself into the home and pushing them out. The girlfriend feels some kind of way about that because they've been doing renovations and now they're being pushed out of the place where they were going to live. So, what they end up doing, they bought a house near the village, near the restaurant that he now owns, and it needed renovations. So, they're starting on that. The biological father, which they haven't seen him around, much since they've been there, he's coming around and he actually helped them. So he loaned them money so they can do the repairs for the roof and the plumbing. Um, a lot of times when he came around, they did have dinner and lunch most days. But she said everything was, doing well. She's fine. So finally, the time came where they were able to move in after all the renovations were done. However, now she doesn't see her boyfriend because he has a restaurant and he works 12 to 14 hours a day. So now she feels lonely and sad. And instead of taking the medication because she didn't like how it made her feel, now she started drinking wine every night. Okay, so she drank wine for a while. And then next thing she know, she found out she was pregnant again. So she had to stop the wine and she couldn't do the antidepressants. So what she would do, she would start blogging, and she said that helped her out. However, by her being pregnant, her hormones were all over the place, and she started kind of slipping back in depression. She said one minute she was angry, and other times frustrated. She was in all different directions. So finally, she had her baby. She made it through, and she were able to put them in daycare. They bought another restaurant. So now it's time for her to go back to work as well as going to schools and learn French. She knew some basic French, she said, but she didn't know enough to make friends. So all this time that she's been there, she's pretty much been alone because again, no one speaks English. So not only did they, let me see where I leave off at. Okay, so not only did they buy another restaurant, they bought another house up the road from the restaurant, and the biological father loaned them the money. So he said, I tell you what, just pay me back like you're doing a mortgage. So they agreed to that. And then there was a house that was adjacent to the place where the biological father had bought. And they were approached to say, hey, your dad lives here. Why don't you take this right next door? So they thought about it, but it needed a lot of renovations. And the biological dad was right there and said, hey, no worries. I'll loan you the money. So they're like, oh, okay. So the girlfriend felt a little worried about it because all, the debt that they had. And they're owing, this man all this money. So she went on, her boyfriend talked her into it and say, hey, let's sell our house that we have. We bought this other house. We're going to renovate it. And we can use the other house. Wait a minute, make sure I got this straight. Holiday. Right, they can go ahead and sell the house that they're in, renovate the one that they're buying, and um, use that as a guest house for vacation. I don't know how that works, but that's what she put. So she thought about it. She's like, okay, I'll go ahead and do it. Also, they had some renovations they wanted to do at the restaurant because they wanted to add a bar and they had to do some work to the roof. So they thought they were going to be able to get some money from a bank and do a mortgage, but that fell through and they weren't able to do it. So the stepfather, I mean, the biological father is right there with his pocketbook and like, hey, what you need? So again, she wasn't comfortable with it because what started happening, he started coming around all the time. And now she's feeling some kind of way because she's working, just a few hours. She got her kids. She still doesn't know French yet. She doesn't see a boyfriend, and the biological father is there more than the boyfriend. So now she's saying she doesn't know what to do because she's tired of seeing this man all the time. She said it's almost the same as it was when they lived with the stepfather.
Mm.
So now she's asking, what should she do?
Boy. Mm. Mm. That's heavy. I mean, it just sounds like the 99.9% of this relationship has been all about building things, humans and buildings, right? Like everything is she's pregnant and they're renovating something. Like, when does the building brand new things stop so you can kind of bloom where you're planted? Like, it sounds very exhausting for both of them. I mean, the husband is going and going and going. I think that he's kind of diving into all these things so he doesn't have to deal with his grief over losing his mom, which is kind of fueling him. But for her, wow, I mean, it definitely sounds like she must be at her wits' end and just exhausted. You're super isolated all the time. You kind of feel very reliant. If you're in a country and no one speaks your language and you don't
Right,
understand their language, right? And you can't find a little community of English speakers at least to kind of feel like you're not entirely isolated. You're entirely dependent on your husband, and I mean hopefully the biological father speaks some English, um for everything, for what you eat, for what the baby gets, for everything, because you literally aren't able to function on your own. So yeah, I can see how this is also kind of scary, because what kind of move can you make when you literally could not get 5 city blocks by yourself because you're just not even sure where the hell you are. You don't know how to ask nobody for directions. Like, that's it. Like, if you could try to pack you and the babies up and go, but where are you going? You're gonna get into the cab, try to tell them where you're going, and they're gonna look at you like you're crazy, right? It's just park airport,
Hello.
airport. Hey,
greetings. How are you?
Uh, you know, you know what? I'm going to be. I'm gonna be in the jerk corner with this one.
It's a lot
okay,
going on. So much to touch, but go
I'm
ahead.
I'm I'm going to be in the jerk corner.
okay.
Ruby, you speaketh the French. You speaketh. I
I
speaketh
do.
some of it. Right. Um, what's harder to learn, Japanese or French? I'm just saying. Like, if you look at English, there's a lot of English words that easily translate over to French. There's phones that have Google Translate, right?
Mhm,
And the French structure of speaking is similar to the English structure of speaking. You
mhm.
know, the Spanish
Yeah.
structure is a little backwards for us when we're speaking English to Spanish, but French and English are almost similar with the structures, right?
Well, it's a little backwards too, but I would say Spanish and French and Italian are all very similar languages,
Yeah.
right? So it's not
And
that far off.
it's not that far off. So basically, and here's the next thing is, it's not like back in the day when, I remember going to Europe in the 2000s, right? And going around, you kind of figure things out. If you look, you say, okay, all right, well, let me look at this, let me look at that. You hear things. I don't know if she's in like a main city state, like if she's in Paris or Nice or somewhere where it's a lot of travelers, where, and in France they can be snooty. If you don't speak French, they'll
Mhm.
understand you, but they'll reply to you in French on purpose, right?
Mhm.
Because
Hmm.
they're
They can
snooty like
speak
that.
English. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
they
was
can
gonna
speak.
say that they can
Yeah,
speak English perfectly. They just refuse to. Like,
yeah,
yeah.
they'll reply to you in French because they learn English and French at the same time because English is an international language. Like there's
Mhm.
very few places in Europe that you go where they don't speak English. You know what I mean? It's just in France, they just choose to be jerks about it, right? And that's
Mhm.
fine. They can do whatever, because they got that little thing about it. But the thing is that you can read a lot of things in French that will translate into English. Now, when it gets, really difficult, right? Like, bigger words, of course, you need to translate. You need to, but you have a phone, right? And
Okay.
you have a phone because if this is recent, right? The iPhone came out in what, 2008, 2009, the first really iPhone, and we're up to what, 12s now? Like, so between I'm saying between that and now, and you have a Google phones, there's Google Translate. It may not be direct, but you can do short conversations. There's a card, right? She could have her boyfriend write her a card on getting around. She can practice her French with people that's around there, especially if you want to learn French or learn a language. It's better to learn it from older people because they teach you more properly. You know what I'm saying? So
Mhm.
with that being said, is she's got a baby. I understand that, right? But here's my thing, right? Why the hell did you pick your ass up, move to a whole nother country, and you didn't secure the ring?
Mm.
This is your
Ooh.
boyfriend. You're not married. Why in the God and why in all of creation would you move to another country and you're not married and you're still not married? You haven't gotten
Mhm.
married and you're
Mhm.
doing married things. And here's the problem. And she doesn't
True.
understand it. She doesn't
Mhm.
understand it. The first kid is a dual citizen. The second kid is a French citizen, unless she went and did the American stuff, because I'm pretty sure she probably didn't do that. So if she tries to leave, she can't leave because she can't take the kids with them because in France, they won't allow you to do that because that's child abduction.
Mm. Mhm.
Uh-oh.
Yep.
So she can't leave and take her babies with her,
Mm.
right? Because it's child abduction because she's in France and they are French citizens. And just and we know, we're petty. I'm petty, right? But the French are real petty. They extra
Hmm.
petty. You know what I'm saying? When the United States didn't want to pay their money back to them, they sent them the Statue of Liberty with chains on it. That's
Mhm.
petty. You made a whole statue. That's petty. You
Yeah,
know,
it's pretty petty.
that's pretty petty. But that's what I mean is here's the thing. She left her mom, right? And she like,
Yes.
I'm going to France. I'm out, right? And she left, right? And she's pregnant, right? The worst, the hardest thing for a woman to do. I had friends over here, right? I had a
Mhm.
friend, his wife, he's Haitian, but his wife, he met his wife, she's Haitian, but she was in Canada, right? So he was in the Navy. So she was pregnant with his son, right? What he did was he brought her mother to Japan because he was in the Navy. He did the thing and he brought the mom to Japan to be with his wife while she was pregnant, right?
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
she can help her take care of the baby, right? Because he's in Japan, she's in Japan. They had us and stuff like that, but she needed her mom. So he
Mhm.
paid for her mom to come over and to be in the house so while she had the baby because she needed a woman around, especially someone like a mom, because who's going to know about a baby than the mom, right? Same thing
Mhm.
happened, when with my kids. Like, my mother-in-law came down to be with my wife. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
When my oldest son had his kid, his wife, his mother-in-law came all the way up from southern Japan to be with a daughter. And the same thing
Mhm.
happened with my middle son. So this is a thing, right? So what I'm basically saying is this is what she has is she's having these babies. She's having these kids, but she's not saying that she's a wife. She's doing all of these
Right.
wifely things, but she's not a wife. Why is she married? Because this man is opening up restaurants, right? Because
Mhm.
so
Yeah.
he's buying property, right? The
Yes.
family's chipping in, so you can't say the family's chipping in, right?
Right.
The biological father was in his life. If the biological father was given was given money to help them move in, but she got a man that works. He's a business owner. He's going to be running around for 14 hours a day. The business
Yeah.
ain't going to run itself. And if you want to spend time with him, well, guess what? You're going to have to work with him in that business.
Mhm.
That's true.
Yeah.
You you didn't marry a regular dude. So what this is high value man problems.
Mhm. Mhm.
She don't have regular people problems, right?
Mhm.
Because evidently the kids are taken care of. She could put them in daycare. She's putting an infant and a toddler in the daycare. So
Mhm.
I guess the one child had to be going on at least 2 years old, right? Because you
Yes.
know, and we can tell this by she was 6 months. Then she went to she moved. The mom passed, had the kid. By the time she done had the kid for 9 months, and then she's getting over the pregnancy and her body kind of reforming itself. She ain't thinking about having nothing for 6 months. You know what I'm saying? Vonda, shout out to Vonda. 6 months, you ain't doing nothing, right? Minimum, you ain't doing nothing for 6 months. And then, so
Mhm.
let's say about 8 months, then she gets pregnant again, right? She gets pregnant again. And what I'm hearing is she has sickness. I can attest for this because I didn't feel this until I got out of the military, until I was in Japan, right? And, luckily I stayed in the area where I had friends. But it was
Mhm.
that sense of I'm in another country. What I'm gonna do? I gotta find a job. I can't really speak the language. Like I can't really read this squiggly and these stick figures that they got up on these walls, right? And they do things totally different. And it's not like America where it's like run, run, run. They're really relaxed in Europe. They're passe with stuff. Like we'll get to it when we get to it. You know what
Mhm.
I'm saying? And they're kind of uppity in France. Depending on where you're at. She's in the when you get outside of the main places, they're kind of more country, more happy. But she's used to a life of excess, and when I mean excess, of moving, of seeing things happen, right? Whereas when you're in a country like that, like in Europe and outside in the country parts, it's very slow, right? And for
Mhm.
someone her age and that young, when she thought she was going to France, she thought she was in Paris. She gonna see the Lou. She gonna drink her wine with a pinky out. She was like, oh, she was living the life, and then she arrived in this village,
Mhm.
and life is slow. She and and she wasn't prepared for it, and then she doesn't have any friends, right? Because she doesn't understand the culture, and then everybody's speaking French around her, and she feels isolated. And the
Mhm.
only person that she can talk to is her, because now her boyfriend is her only friend, but he's working because he went
Right.
from being the boyfriend to the pseudo husband.
Mhm.
And I think she's the one not trying to get married because she never brought marriage up. She never
No.
brought it up.
Well,
She never
you know
brought
what?
it up.
I think that could be one of two things, right? And the one I'm leaning towards is the fact that closed mouths don't get fed. So normally a woman is the one who lets a man know, like, hey, yeah, fine, we moved in with each other really fast. I understand a series of unfortunate and stressful and time consuming events have happened. But I'm not that kind of girl who's trying to cohabitate till I'm 90. Like, marriage for me, early on is an important factor. But the other thing might be that maybe it did either come up, or she tried to bring it up, or he brought it up, but it was more in the sense of, with my mom gone, I just can't see me doing that, right now in the place that I'm in. Or maybe with the
Hmm.
position he's in, where she can see he's still clearly grieving, that trying to talk to him about emotional level things isn't really getting her anywhere, right? So it's like, okay, he can focus on all the practical stuff, right? He's throwing himself into work and physical work, and like he wants to consume every second of every day with some type of manual labor or building the business or whatever. Most people would not just layer this stuff on themselves over and over and over and over and over again. So it could be too that she is seeing all of that and kind of doesn't want to broach the subject because maybe she feels like he's not ready or he's not in a place, or if he was in the place, then he would, say something, or she would see a change in him. But again, closed mouths don't get fed. And it seems like she'll bring up an issue. She's very like kind of, I don't mean submissive in terms of, a relationship between men and women. I mean submissive as far as personality, where I think she's a very submissive, subservient kind of person. She brings something up once gently and he rebuffs it and she goes, okay, I guess I have to deal with it. And she doesn't further expand. And if you don't stop and say, okay, I hear you, but in the meantime, between A and B, something needs to change because, and I don't just mean things that I need to do, it's stuff that we need to do, an effort that needs to be made on your part, husband, pseudo husband, to, not only maybe concrete this deal and make me a wife, but also make me feel like I'm the kind of wife that you marry, not just for functional purposes, but because you genuinely enjoy my company. As in, if we can't do 6 p.m. dinner because the restaurant's open, you don't get home till 1 a.m., but you would be willing to do 1 a.m. dinner with me, then let's set that up. Let's set up a dedicated 1 hour a day where we're spending time together and reconnecting and whatever. And stuff like that comes from the woman. It doesn't come from the man. The woman is the gatekeeper, so to say, of the emotional health and intelligence in a relationship. So if your relationship is failing on that level, then it's on you as a woman to be pushing for these things. Not, and I don't mean in an aggressive way. I don't mean fighting him. I don't mean breaking the peace. I mean really saying I'd like to have a discussion with you and sitting down and explaining to him not just how isolated you feel as an individual, but how far away you feel from him, because except for the times you've had sex to create babies, like when do you see each other? Um, and like the second thing, to Dre's point of learning French. Now, I had a friend and she married not one, but two different men in the Dominican Republic. The first one, she met him on a vacation she went on with her parents for 14 days. She did not know Spanish at all.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and she fell in love with what should have just been a whim. And literally within the next month, she signed herself up for night classes to learn how to speak Spanish as a second language. And in under a year, she was married. Actually, no, sorry, exactly a year to the day they met because it was Valentine's Day. She was in the Dominican Republic marrying this guy and working, teaching English as a second language because she also, in that 1 year time, not only learned Spanish, but also got the teaching certificate so she could teach English as a second language. So, I mean, and that was while she was working full time, planning a wedding, doing other stuff. So, I mean,
Mm-hmm.
it's not like that far away from imagination for you to understand that all of the stuff that she did is actually available online. You can even get something like Rosetta Stone. And Rosetta Stone, people take download Rosetta Stone to learn all kinds of languages when they're not even living in the country yet. So you can easily download Rosetta Stone. You don't have anything else to do. You have nothing else to do but
Mm-hmm.
sit there, take care of your kids, and during the times that they're napping, what? Watch French TV that you don't understand, or I guess some YouTube. Go learn the language. Learn the language in your spare time while you're sitting there. Money doesn't seem to be an object. If you can afford to do renovations whenever the hell you feel like it, you can afford $100 course to learn a language online easily. And then boom, there you go. Now you are putting in an effort to try to invest in the life that you've clearly invested in. Your body's there, your children are there, your boyfriend is there, but it seems like you're not 100% investing. Like you just think somehow, well, he'll just at some point be able to come home and keep me company, or I could go to the restaurant and then keep him company. And I don't need to be able to function inside of this country. I don't really need to be able to make connections with this family that I would like to, that I'm connected to now. Like, learn the language, learn how to communicate with them, ask them for help. You have a 70-odd-year-old man around you all day long. He doesn't have anything else to do. Like, he has nothing else to do either. That's why he's there. So why aren't you interacting with him and getting help from him, asking him to bring you to certain places? Hey, let's go out as a family together with your grandkids and blah, blah, blah. Like, it really sounds like she's not making like an effort as much as she's sitting back and hoping something will change.
Well, and I got two things. First, Ruby, your friend that went to the Dominican Republic, I am pretty sure the man she married had a stove.
Uh, he did have a stove, yes. So
Okay,
far as
cool.
I understand, yeah.
It might
Okay,
be true.
he got a
All
stove.
We got Sheed on the panel. Go ahead, Sheed.
Hey,
How are you? Welcome.
Hello, how you doing? How you doing? How you doing?
hello,
All
good
right, all
evening.
right.
Hey, the crazy part, I was listening to this story. For one, a lot of women always make this, problem occur with them, taking on things without even, getting a guarantee. For the most part,
Hmm.
you just traveling all the way to another country, doing all this stuff, and what if the relationship don't work out? This man walks away, you walks away. It's like no harm, no foul. To the point where, you being married to this man, at least he's trying to commit certain things for the long haul for you. And in that case, it's like a lot of women run time, let it pass, and over time you kind of look at the situation where the time has passed, and you kind of wilted your life away. I mean, I've heard young women been in relationships with guys for a total of, they just say, 8 years, 10 years, and the guy had no wants of getting married. We talked about it, and he said, "Well, as time go, we'll see." Time passes. He don't want to get married. He, don't really want nothing more than what he already have. But her not being persistent and trying to, push that relationship forward, you in that situation.
Okay. All right. Thank you for that. And Bomb Cherry, she's joined the panel. Welcome. How are you?
I'm okay. Let me turn everything off. Okay, give me a second.
Okay.
Oh, hey, Bomb Cherry. Like, nice to see you up here. Um, but yeah, I think I absolutely agree. I honestly, I feel really bad for her though, because I kind of understand that to a large extent, everything happened very rapidly in the relationship. Like, it's different when you have time kind of forethought where you can sit down and you're planning things. It seems like everything's been very reactive. Like, we met each other and we were just kind of like madly in love, and then 6 weeks later, boom, we're living together, and boom, I'm pregnant, and then boom, he's got to go to France, boom, his mother passes away, boom, we're moving to France. Like, it just seems like everything's been very, very reactive, and there hasn't been a lot of time that she sat and contemplated. And I think she's trying to kind of pick up the same coping skills that her husband has. Her husband is just like, okay, well, just focus on what it is we need to do, and we'll worry about all that other stuff later. And she's been trying to do that and just make do. And okay, got to take care of the kids, got to this, got to that. Fine, I can wait. But, you kind of bury yourself. I think she's been burying herself little by little for years now. And now it's like, okay, how do I unbury myself? And I feel a lot of empathy for her.
Mm. So can I be heard?
Oh,
Yeah,
there
go ahead,
she
Mom.
is.
How's everybody doing? Hi, Ruby.
All
Hi,
Hey,
right, all
Mom.
Shar.
right. How are you?
Mom Terry, what's
Okay.
up? Hey,
How you
Long
Shar,
time,
hey,
fellas
Ruby.
Mom.
doing?
Long
So
time.
I didn't hear the entire story, but
Uh-oh.
yeah, I didn't hear everything. So I'm just gonna touch on what I did hear. So based on what Ruby just said, um, that she just kind of let life lead her to where she is. Well, that's how most of us live our lives. I mean, if we be honest, if you go apply for a job, you applying for many jobs, and the one that offers you the position is the one you take. May not even be the one you really want. May not even be the type of job you want, but you need a job. You follow a job. You meet a man, and it looks like everything. You like the way he look. You like the way he smell. He treats you well, and you may follow him wherever he goes. You know. Now,
Hmm.
so that's something that's just how we all pretty much that's how we deal with our lives. You know, you might make some choices like whether you're gonna go to school or the military or whether you're gonna get a job. But other than that, you end up pregnant and you start having raising your family.
Hey, bomb. Hey, Shar.
Hmm.
Greetings.
Hello.
Greetings. You're Dre. Hey, what's up, Ruby? Hey,
What's up?
Hey.
no, but I'm like the same thing, right? Like I'm in North Dakota, right? There's not too many black girls out here, right? So I got to deal with what I got to deal with, right? But that's not the girl I want to marry. I would prefer a Bomb Terry or a Shar. You know what I mean? Or a Ruby. You know what I mean? But yeah, I got
Mm,
to deal with what I have to deal with because
Yeah, that's what it
that's,
is.
I get that, but that kind of doesn't tie
No, I'm
in
not
with the
marrying
letter on
them.
that
I'm not
part.
marrying them, but I got to deal with what I have to deal with.
But your situation is different than the letter. It's not that you're a woman and you have a baby, then you move, and then you have another baby, and so that's kind of
No, it would be the same thing because if I don't, as it were, pull out, guess what? Then now I got a mixed black baby.
well,
You
you
know what I
can
mean? And
always
then
be a letter on the show if that does happen. Now,
no, but I apologize, Sean.
no
You know,
worries.
no, but it
You can be
would
a
be
letter
that.
on the show.
It would be that. It would be that because then I would have a mixed baby or whatever. You know what I mean?
No,
Because
that's different from the letter. I'm sorry. You
Okay.
can't incorporate that, but nice try.
I
The
also
only
want
way
to
we can.
add the portion where the guy who was before who was that just before me, y'all mentioned that women want to get married. Why do men assume that women are looking for marriage? These just like you young men don't want to get married, these young women don't want to get married. I convinced my son to ask his, baby mother, which is my grandchild's mother. I convinced him. I explained the importance of marriage. I convinced him to ask her to get married, and she the one who didn't want to get married. Now I don't know the reason. She just kept saying he's not ready. He's not ready. But the truth of the matter, these young women don't want to get married, and I don't know whether it's for the better or the worse. I'm not sure. I guess they can only determine that.
But bomb
But
bomb check. The reason why I was saying about her getting married, she's in a foreign country, with a man. Technically, I guess the father, whoever don't speak English, and with him moving around and doing his thing to the extent where she has no guarantee in the matter. That's what I'm talking about. Her trying to get married to where she can have some type of guarantee. As if he just say, I don't want to deal with you no more. I'm not paying for you to go back home. What is she able to do? Now, to the extent of them being married and get a divorce, the courts will enforce certain things upon him. And I don't try to throw men up under the bus, but to the extent to where she put herself in a bad situation with no guarantee. That's just like a man, just like the guy was saying earlier, where he's dealing with a woman and just so happened he get pregnant and things slip up. Well, with no guarantees that this woman to be there for you or be willing to work with you, why would you even have sex for the first part and second part have a kid with her? So it's
yeah,
it's like
you
on
have
both
sex
ends.
because
well,
sex
we all
feel
know why
good,
we have sex, right?
right? Because it feel good. Shit.
Yeah,
What the
yeah.
hell?
Well,
I understand the feeling aspect of it is, but the point of it is, feelings get a lot of people in trouble. You know,
no, no. like, and to Baum's point, like, I get that. Like, if you're in your own country, you know the laws, right? You know how everything works. But for you to go to another country, and here's the thing, the only thing that's keeping her there at that point in time to get her visa is because she has those children, right? And they're French citizens. So by her being a parent of those children, her visa is through those children. The children actually hold it, but the boyfriend is actually the guardian of those children, right? So the boyfriend had to do the paperwork in French so she can stay in France because she has those kids, right? Now she's not married, so she has no rights, right? Because he can revoke those rights at any time that he pleases.
Can
So
he
that's
revoke the rights of the
Exactly.
can but he can't revoke the rights of the children.
yeah,
And
he can.
since she's attached to the children, right?
Well,
You can,
she
right?
can.
Hey, Dre, Europe.
Yeah,
Dre.
yeah.
When I was in Ghana, right?
Mhm.
I had girlfriends, right? But there were girls. I didn't mess with them like at all because the village, you know what I mean? The tribe.
Mhm.
And I don't want any smoke from that shit. You get me?
Yeah,
Like I don't want the chief
So
come and tell me you lay with my daughter, blah blah blah. Now you're part of the
shock her
village.
marriage. Right,
yeah,
right.
yeah,
Like
yeah,
no, so I stayed away from all of that. Like I never got no cooch in Ghana.
yeah.
My,
And
never,
Listen to
ever,
the
ever,
topic at
ever. I
hand.
had
But
girlfriends, but I never got
Andre,
no
so,
cooch.
yeah. So basically what I'm saying is that what I was saying in the letter is she's not talking about the marriage thing, right? That's not on her mind. She doesn't it's not a thing on her mind. So I think it's really her decision if they get married or not. But she's not protecting her rights, and I don't think she understands how serious this is. I don't think the guy's going to do that because he wouldn't go get a house, do repairs, then turn around and get a restaurant and try to open up another restaurant because the first one has to be successful for you to open up another one and get another
Right.
house and do all of this. Like I think he really wants to make him a family, but I think that she doesn't understand. I think what she's doing is she's using it as a because she's not comfortable and she doesn't know how to explain that. Maybe she needs to write it to him because evidently she's good at writing, right? So I
Mhm.
think she needs to sit down and write it to him. But what I really think was wrong with her is she doesn't have a place. She doesn't understand. She doesn't have something for herself, right? And she doesn't have that one thing that drives and motivates her.
How old is she?
That,
She
I
didn't
know.
say.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
So, but what you're saying,
That
Dre, though,
that sounds right, Dre, though, based on
yeah.
and like you said, she don't know the importance of the marriage. Because I'm not please don't think that I'm saying marriage isn't important.
Oh no, yeah,
I think so, yeah, so it is important. I'm just saying that the young women are like you said, if she don't feel comfortable, if she feel like maybe she might decide to up and leave. Where she, based on what you're saying, Andre, she won't be able to even do that if she wanted to. If something went wrong, she's not just up and leaving with
no,
them children.
hey, bomb. I'm getting what you and Dre are saying, right? It's the same thing, right? I'm dealing with this with a girl now, right? Same
You're
thing,
in the
right?
United States, right?
Yeah.
Is she
No,
black
but
or is she white? Because you all over the place.
yeah, either way,
you got a lot.
yeah,
You got a lot.
yeah, I've got a lot of them. So I'm dealing with a girl like this. So it's black, white, whatever. They're still the same, right? Still the same thing, right? What I'm saying is the girl doesn't want to know, she doesn't know if she's secure yet. You get me? Like she likes you, she wants to be with you, but she doesn't know if she can find something better later on. Or
No, it's not about finding something
I don't
better.
see that. I
Yeah,
don't see that at all.
like I was
oh, but
married for
she's not
years.
doesn't want to tie down to you yet. Like you want to tie down to her. You want to do everything for her.
I
Like
think
Dre said, dude is he buying businesses, buying extra businesses. Like he's trying to take care of her.
I think
He's
you need to
doing it for her. But
listen to more
she's not ready
context.
to get down with him yet.
Well,
It's
you
a
know what?
trust
I
thing.
mean, if I
I'm
could
sorry.
bring up something though, really quickly, because I decided to look it up because I just wasn't sure what the attitudes in France were to like, marriage and out of wedlock births and whatnot. And their
Mhm.
attitude is very, very different than it is in the US, right? So like for example, they are at like a 45% married like people 45% of population that's marriageable is actually married, and their rates are decreasing year on year, not increasing. And then you have like 4.3 per 1,000 people got married. That's their marriage rate, which is literally but almost 50% lower than the United States, which is at 7.8 per 1,000. So they have, and I mean, there's a 60% out of wedlock birth rate, and most is by choice. There's people are not accidentally getting pregnant out of wedlock. They're choosing. People are choosing to cohabitate a lot in France. That's the attitude currently. So if that's the attitude, then it might just be kind of knowledge that she understands that he doesn't really put a high importance on marriage and whatnot. They kind of are more laissez faire about that, whatever. That's not the
Ruby,
point.
don't
You
we
can
do that
do
in
all that without
America?
getting married.
Don't
Um,
we do? Don't we do that
again,
in? Don't we do that in America?
we do the cohabitation thing a lot, but I still think in America, over here, like Canada is the same. We do it, but we still see marriage as the end goal. So if like for us, cohabitation is like the trial before marriage, whereas for them,
Yeah. Let me see.
cohabitation
Is
is
this
the
girl
goal.
really crazy? Right.
Yeah,
No,
right.
actually, I don't believe that. I think that's what we want to believe America is. But America is exactly what it is. Groups of people don't want to get married. They don't believe in the government uh, telling them what to do and how to do things anymore. The government don't really have a huge incentive like they used to anymore. And women are able to get a lot more done if she's not married to a man.
Hmm.
I think
Well,
that's a fair statement. And like I said, I think that, that attitude is growing and increasing in America, but it's literally growing like at, double the
mhm.
rate in Europe. So,
I
with
disagree, though. I disagree.
the
I'll follow
statistics
you up, Ruby.
literally say it. Okay, the statistics say it. I'm like reading it off
Yeah,
the
the
stats thing.
information say that. Ruby's right about that.
um, but I wanted to say, and so as a result, I wouldn't necessarily, and I put those two things together. So I put together the idea that obviously he has a French culture. He doesn't have an American culture. He's a French culture. And so he just might have a different attitude. She might already understand that in general and be okay with that and see commitment with him for the long term as being defined by something different other than marriage. So that might be the first thing. The second thing is, like I said, a lot of stuff in this relationship happened rapid fire where it wasn't about them stopping and planning something first so much, right? Like his mom died very suddenly. His stepfather immediately needed help. He needed to move there. She's pregnant with his baby. Either she moves with him or there's a good chance they're going to be living on separate continents for a while, right? So I think that that's how things keep happening in this relationship. So it's not that she's stopping and saying, I don't need the safety. It's just more like, I have to make certain decisions out of necessity for what's best for our family, which right now is making a move first. It's not stopping and saying, well, we should invest in the wedding and I need a ring and blah, blah, blah. That's not the most important factor right now. So, I don't really down her for that part. I think really the issue is not the guy's commitment or her commitment or whatever. I think it's more the fact, like I said, communication. I don't
Yeah.
think that she has communicated effectively, like, hey, this isn't working for me, right? You are very comfortable in France. You're not seeing it like I'm a complete fish out of water. And I need you to invest more time, not just in me, but kind of in our social life as well. You have more friends, more family. You know where to kind of do these things. Hey, can we throw a dinner party so I can meet some people? Can we, you know what I mean? Like, she's got to step out there and start
Hey,
speaking,
so
or he's
Ruby,
going to assume
I
she's
had the same
fine.
problem. I had the same problem.
You
Like
have
with
all the
my
problems
wife.
that everybody have.
Yeah,
No, no, no.
you need to write in, okay? I can use these as some topics.
Like
Mm-hmm.
my wife. Like I was married for 8 years. You know
Wait
what
a
I mean?
minute. You just said you
United
got a lot of
States.
women. Now you got a wife.
I was married for 8 years.
Uh, this is before the Africa thing with all you dating but not
No,
getting.
no, no. Yeah, that was before. Then I got married after Africa.
Oh, okay. Go ahead. Uh-huh.
Yeah. So, but it was the same thing, right? I had
Uh, okay, same thing. So who's not from the United States? Her?
no. Everybody's from the United States, right?
Okay, that's not the same thing then. Sorry.
So no, but what I'm saying is it's the same thing. Like
No, it's not the same thing.
I had girlfriends in Africa
You.
that
But
I
what it had to do
couldn't
with your wife?
because I couldn't do nothing with them because they did different things than Americans do.
Wait. What about your wife? You just switched it up. You
There
just
was
said
a time I was
girlfriends.
married. There was a time I wasn't married.
Okay. But what about the wife? You were just saying my wife, and then you.
Okay, so I had to deal with some things that relate to this conversation with my wife, and I have some things
Mhm.
with when I was in Africa that relate to this conversation. When I
So
wasn't
you,
married.
well, you and your wife, y'all both from the U.S. Y'all both from the U.S., right?
Yeah.
So
I'm
that
from
don't relate.
Chicago. And I'm from
Okay.
Chicago. My wife from Jersey.
Okay.
Okay,
So
so that's not the same thing. It doesn't relate. I'm
But
sorry.
I've had
But
girlfriends
well,
from Africa, from
that's
tribes.
nice, but
And I'm
that's not the
saying,
same though. You
I'm
but
didn't get
y'all
giving,
wasn't having sex. Y'all didn't get pregnant. Y'all not have no baby.
right, no baby, so there's nothing the same here.
but I couldn't because I knew
But
what
that's
it
isn't that
was.
that
So
means
then it's
that's
not
not
the
the same.
same.
Oh, but listen. That's what I'm saying is because the tribe, everything is honored differently.
That's why it's not the same because the tribe protected the women from you.
Exactly. And these is the niggas that protected the women.
Oh Lord.
And
Who's
so,
on first crew?
no, that's all I'm saying, Shar.
Okay.
Like they're
I,
doing the same thing.
I
Like
disagree, but thank you. All right. Who was talking?
Oh, I was finished.
Okay.
It was me.
All right. Well, I do agree that it's communication because everything did move quickly. And she might have agreed, okay, let me go ahead and move to France. Okay, fine. But every time something happens, not saying that there's any pushback and it should be any, but it doesn't appear that she's involved in it. And as far as the guy, not let me see, what is he? The stepfather. After a couple of dinners or whatever, okay, now it's time to talk to the boyfriend and say, you know what, we don't really spend that much time together. And your dad, he doesn't understand English, whatever, but let's figure out something we can do here and make it a joint effort, even though you may have the answer, at least throw him in there and like, hey, let's, what can we do? And maybe he'll say, oh, why don't you all go out and he can teach you some things in French. Oh, great idea. Let's do that. Something, but it's not like she's handicapped just because she has a child. And it seems as if I kind
Mhm,
of get that vibe from her. It's like I can't do anything. I can't go anywhere. But
mhm,
you go outside the door. You can, bundle your child up if it's cold
mhm,
and take your child out. So that is kind of weird. It's something about her. I just don't know what it is, but it's something about her.
mhm. She has like that fish out of water syndrome where if they were in America somewhere, but like somewhere that she had never been or lived, didn't have family there, whatever, I think she would be approaching things very differently. But plopping her onto a whole different continent, it's like, I don't know how to breathe here. I don't know how to be a person here anymore. I'm not sure what it is. And then she's like learned helplessness as a result of that. I'm therefore helpless because I don't know what to do. And no one is sitting there and taking me by the hand and walking me through it. And, again, I have a lot of empathy for her. So I understand that, that would be really difficult. But, there are things, I mean, even while you're trying to learn the language, as DeAndre said, there are apps on your phone. You can get someone to speak their language into your phone. It'll translate it for you. And then you can speak English back into the phone and it'll speak to them in the right language. Like, there's so many ways of getting around language barriers. There's so many ways of, I mean, once your baby's not a newborn anymore, you're not bundling them up and taking them for walks. Like, aren't you supposed to take your children outside to breathe the air and get some sun and play outside? Like, it just seems like she's feeling so helpless because it's a different country. Like, they brought her to Mars or something, so she's not sure how she's allowed to function there. And it's like she almost turned her brain off as a result. And until part of it, I think, is almost intentional, because she has put everything on pause until her husband comes back, right? Like, she mentioned those dinners so early in the letter, but it was like from the second those dinners stopped, her life stopped with them. And until he comes back and he joins my life again, that's it. I'm on pause waiting for him, and I'm just tired of waiting. But like, why are you waiting so like uselessly? No offense, but like, you're not doing anything with yourself or your life or your kids. Like,
well, you know what she has? She has depression, but you know what she has? She has like level. She has stage 4 culture shock. Right. And like, I'm like, people don't know what this is, right? But most Americans get this. People from other countries, they don't get this because, especially in Europe, because all the borders are really close. So they are used to traveling to other areas at a younger age. So they get it out of their system. In America, we get the culture shock because we think the rest of the world just follows to our beating drum until they plop your butt in another country and realize, oh, you ain't nothing. You know what I'm saying? And the reason why I understand this, right, is because I would see women on base, black women, white women. It actually would really affect the white women more, right? The black women to figure a way out of it, and this is on base. I would see women on base be dropped off, like, not dropped off, but they'll be on the base and they won't leave the base. They'll only leave the base. They'll be in Japan for 3-4 years, their husband stationed, and they'll stay on the base the whole time. They'll only leave the base to go out with their husband and come back. They would not go out by themselves. They would not explore. They would not do anything. They said, I can't stay in Japan. I'm ready to go. I want to go back to the States. They'll eat everything on base. They won't leave base. We're just here to make money. I don't care. I'm only here because I got to be here. It's been so bad where the culture shock has been so bad with them that the husband had to wind up sending them back to the States because it was causing problems in the home, because he would, go from work, get home, and then he would have to do extra with her, right? And he's like, well, I got to go and do this. Why you got to go there? You was with him all day. I was like, well, I got to do the extra stuff so I can make rent, that politicking stuff, right? And, and a lot of times the husband, if he's building a restaurant, you got to politic with people to get the people to come to the restaurant so they can support the restaurant. It's a business, right? And what it sounds like to me is, and Nick did say it in the chat, you got the internet. This ain't like back in the day. So you can talk to people, you can meet up with people that will speak English, with you, right? You know what I'm saying? People, like, the whole thing is that she's in stage 4 culture shock, and like you said, Ruben, she doesn't know what to do, right? But the only reason I brought up the marriage thing is she's putting herself in a bad situation, because if she doesn't know how to speak French, she doesn't know the laws, right? And say she wants to get up and leave one day, right? He might not be thinking about this, but if you look at the family, you saw what the biological dad did. He started pouring in money. He's not giving him that money to build this house, to build these things, You know what I mean? He's not doing that just because of that. He's doing that because he see grandkids. That's a legacy he sees, right?
Mm.
I'm
Okay.
not, because you're a grown man. Like, you know what I'm saying? But you got children, you got a woman, you got a family to take care of. So I got this wealth. I'm your biological dad, but your mother died. I don't know if his biological dad has a wife. I don't know if that was in the thing, but maybe he didn't marry again.
He does not.
He does not, right? So maybe that man, look at the stepfather. As soon as the mom was in the ground for 6 months, he was off with somebody else. You know what I'm saying? You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And the biological dad, that's the only family he's got is him, right? But he sees his grandkids. So what I couldn't do for you, I'm gonna do for the grandkids. Hey, don't worry about it. Pay me back like you paying the mortgage with no interest. Don't worry about it. You need this to renovate this? Go ahead. You want to open up a restaurant, son? Go right ahead. Because this ain't for my son. This is for my grandkids. So they can be taken care of. Then if she decides she's going to
Mhm.
up and leave, she's going to want to take her kids with her. But guess what? Guess what's going to happen on the back end? Oh, no, you not. And that's when it's going to get very messed up because she's not married to him. Because if she's married, now she has a fighting chance of however way they want to work out of their custody battles.
Right.
Because remember, even though, like Ruby said, people are cohabitating by choice, but think about it, if we even go into it, who's making the most money? Who's providing for the kids the most? Who's doing X, Y, and Z? She said the kids are in daycare. So
Right.
and there must have been some communication somehow, some way, right? Because she went to someone. They gave her that she had depression, so she had to go talk to somebody. And if they don't speak English, right, somebody had to be there to translate for her. So it had to have been the husband, or
Hmm.
not the husband, the boyfriend, right? So she didn't. I understand people don't want to take that medicine. I get it. You know what I'm saying? Because you're dealing with that depression. That medicine is like a tranquilizer, and it actually exacerbates the symptoms that you have with depression. Because a lot of people don't want to take it. Because once you start taking it, you get on it, you want it. You can't get off of it. So I get her on that. But what I'm saying is that she has to find something that she can do that is something they got into a relationship, and before they can get through their honeymoon phase of the relationship, she was pregnant,
Yeah.
right? Then when they was past that point where they was about to get past that and get past that honeymoon phase again, she's pregnant again, right? He's got a death in the family. Then the stepfather's girlfriend moves in and pushes him out of the house, right? So what does the husband do? You know what? Let's get you a house. My bad. This is my mess up. You know what I'm saying? Let me get you a house. Let me get you this. Let me do that. Let me do this. Let me do that. The one thing that I heard about it is she's feeling inadequate because she has some issues she need to work out with herself. She's not talking bad about her man. It's that he's not there because he's providing. And I know just
Yeah.
providing and doing all of that it takes more than that. So I'm not saying that she's wrong about that. But that means he must be a stand-up guy. You know what I'm saying? And she wants him around because she needs him emotionally. And he's in, I gotta provide. And they just need that time. And I think he was doing too much too quickly. You know what I'm saying? He could have waited on the second restaurant. You know what I'm saying? He could have waited on a
Mhm.
lot of stuff. No,
Yeah.
but here's the thing, right? She can. There's a difference. When and Bob can attest for this. There's a difference when a man's with a woman and his girlfriend says something, when his wife says something. See, when your girlfriend says something, it's a suggestion. If your wife says something, you better pay attention. There's a
All
difference in a
right.
man's logic. You know,
Okay.
if I'm with my girlfriend and she tells me something, that's just advice. But if my wife tells me something, I need to pay attention because that's my better half. I gotta pay attention because
Hmm.
why am I doing what I'm doing? I'm doing this for her and the family. So there's a difference there. I'm sorry to say this as a guy. In the a hole corner is that's the
And it's
difference
the
between.
truth. Okay.
That's the
Mhm.
You
difference
know,
between us.
if I just because I agree with that, right? If you are born in a culture though where marriage is like ultimately is like an end goal, it's a ultimate supreme seriousness of coupledom and relationship and whatever, then yeah, and that's why the fact that the attitudes are different about marriage versus cohabitation in France might make a difference about what this young man feels and how he would actually take what she says. Because if you don't have wife versus cohabitating partner to separate kind of where someone stands in their level, I would probably think that the next thing would be the mother of your children, right? The person you're building things with. And so because it really does seem like he sees her as a wife, like she's
Yeah,
not just a girlfriend. I mean, I feel
you.
like you don't get motivated to do the things he's doing, where he's renovating place after place and buying restaurant after restaurant and making all these decisions. It seems like he really does consult with her,
Yeah.
but it just seems like she always just says yes. Like she never stops and says, "Hey, babe," because she doesn't want to create any kind of problem or
Yeah.
tension or go against his dreams. But I do think he sees her as a wife. Like
Yeah.
I at least in this situation, I don't think it's an issue. I think the issue is that she's not using that because she doesn't see herself as a wife, because
Yeah.
she has American culture, right? So she has American values, and until you're a wife, you don't get that same kind of say so and privilege, and you got to be just happy with what you have. And if you put you're too much of a problem, you're scared that yeah, you're going to be out on the streets in the cold in a country you don't know anything about. Even if he wouldn't do that, even if
It's a
culturally he
possibility.
feels like he wouldn't do that, that's how she feels about it. So maybe that's keeping her silent out of fear.
Yeah, and that's that cultural thing. Like, and I'm glad that you bring it up. Like, French, they don't think that way, but she doesn't see herself as a wife because she has American culture, and the girlfriend suggests, but the wife demands. I don't want to say it like that, but it's the truth, right?
Yeah.
And that's where bad enough. If she was an American going through this, we'd be like, man. Like, okay, get out of there, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, hit the eject button. And if you feeling that way, maybe you need to separate for a minute because he's too busy and you can't handle it. But you in a whole another country, right? So it's either one or two things that she has to do, right? And she got children, right? It's children involved, it's little babies involved, and this thing is, she need a break, right? She need to take a trip home because that helps. That does help. You get homesick. You know what I mean? You get homesick. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
That helps. I can speak. I can attest for this. Even though I don't go home every 8 years, I do get homesick, and I want to
Mm.
go home. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And I want to see the. You know what I mean? I want to go home, and I want to smell the air, and I want to remember why I left in the first place. Yep, this is why I left.
You
Cause
know,
Nick.
and it's almost been 3 years for her, so that
Yeah.
might be a great idea to go visit her mom.
Or
Mm-hmm.
have a
Would be
mom come visit her. Like, if she can't go there because of the babies, because they got this corona thing going on. But
oh, that's true.
if she can't go there because of the babies, get mom on a flight to come see you. Right?
That's true. That is
It,
true.
and sometimes that helps. Or get some friends that you had in back home to come visit you. Like when I couldn't go home, like last couple of years, my cousin came to visit me.
Hmm.
It's when sometimes you need that little bit of home. You know what I mean? Like you need that little bit of home to feel a certain way. To what I mean? To feel, because that homesick does wear on you because it's not your country at the end of the day. It's not your culture. And the older you get, the more you know how Americanized. You don't know how Americanized you are until you live in another country. And when people say, "Oh, you Americans are stupid," "Oh, you Americans don't know what you're talking about," "Oh, you Americans think stupidly," "Oh, you Americans, all you do is war, 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 blow things up, blow things up." Oh, I've been to Europe. I've been in those conversations with people. You know what I
Mm.
mean? So I understand how they talk. They don't mean anything by it, but you realize how different you are, as American culture when you get outside of it, and it's a shell shock. It's not like she going to another state. She's in a whole nother country.
That
It,
is true.
it,
Welcome to the panel, Shadra. How are you?
Oh, hey.
Hey, good evening. And yeah, I would like to drag everybody to the aforementioned a-hole corner for a brief moment.
Yes, sir.
Perfect.
Yes,
Okay,
sir.
so all I heard throughout this entire letter was, I can't, I can't, I can't, I can't. Oh no, poor me, I can't.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a whole bunch of bullshit. See, what she should have been doing from the beginning is she knew she was going to France. She could have tried to learn the language. Oh, she's going to be in the house with a French speaker and know that he won't speak English to her. Guess what? Try to learn the language. Guess what? If that doesn't work, go out, meet people. Go out when you're shopping for groceries. Learn the language that way. You have Rosetta Stone, like Ruby said. You have all these different apps on your phone. You could find free apps on your phone that can teach you at least conversational French, and you go out and you get people who are friends. Hell, you have online forums where she started a blog so she can get online forums where she can meet expatriates to France, right? Which means she can find wives who speak English and talk to them and meet their babies for play dates and shit, right? But all she's worried about in that little corner of hers is, oh no, I can't. Yes, okay, coronavirus is a thing. What about webcams? She's at home the entire time. And yes, I understand the babies are going to be crying. Yes, I understand there are things going on, but she's got to do things for her mental health. She's got to go out, take walks, enjoy the sunshine. Even if she's cooped up at home, she can video call her mother. She can video call her friends. But what she's sitting there doing is, oh my God, no, I can't do that. Oh no, I can't. And oh, I'm depressed, but I can't take the medicine. Oh no, I can't. And really, she needs to stop with the can't and get out. What he did was he said, okay, I got this girl pregnant, I got a kid, now I got to hit the ground running. And her response to that is, okay, well, we're gonna live with the stepfather, but he doesn't speak English to me. Oh dear. And I think she's pissed off because there's somebody around her all the time who she doesn't necessarily want to communicate with. So it was the same case with the stepfather as it was with the father, because once he found out there was trouble, he started pitching in monetarily, and he wanted to make sure that she was doing well because, hey, this is his grandchild, right?
Yeah.
But no, she had a problem with the grandfather, the grandfather being around all the time too. Okay, well, if this is an issue, right, where you have people around you that you don't want to be around, find people you want to be around. It's not that hard. Or maybe it is that hard. Maybe she's that antisocial person who can't think her way out of a paper bag. And at that point, I question whether or not the guy did the right thing in getting her pregnant. But too late for that, right?
Fight the bear.
Wow. Something. Anyway, there could be lots of problems why she can't, like you said, she could be antisocial. She has young babies. So she's not gonna be able to find friends as simple as you make it seem.
But
So there's a
there's the
lot going
internet.
on.
I mean,
The
you know how
internet
much.
and friends, and you still have kids.
Yeah, but you know what I'm talking about. You see some of these people out here on these panels 8 hours a day. You mean to tell me you can't find one friend with the whole entire internet open for you? There's
Yeah,
something wrong with you at that point.
when she got 2 kids, I'm hoping she's not on the internet 8 hours a day. Shit.
Even so, you meet, you make email buddies. You go to the grocery store and you see the same person day in and day out. Learn their name, get to see familiar faces, and like Dre said, you bring out the mother because it's been a while since you've seen her, or you bring out somebody from back home, or
If she was a man, would your answer have been a little more compassionate? Because
no, no, no.
the
I'm
sickness
actually worse when it
that
comes to
you.
men.
Oh, that's good.
That's true.
But
Yeah, he is.
because I heard somebody mention what made me come up here. Somebody mentioned the women is the gatekeeper of something. I'm like,
Yeah, that
what
was Ruby.
the heck?
That's not
Oh, okay.
that's not my take on that. That's
Yeah.
all Ruby.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but that's what I'm saying. But that's a black manosphere talking point. And then you did the research on what the words and or the marriage rate in France is, but did you ever research the word gatekeeper? So why would you even say that women are the gatekeepers of relationships and emotions? And that is some shit that these men have been saying. Have you ever defined the word gatekeeper?
Okay, so I'm going to tell you that first of all, what I just said I didn't learn from the manosphere, and I actually knew coming into the internet 5 years ago when I found this space.
Mm-hmm.
And what I said specifically was that women are the gatekeepers of the emotional health and well-being of the relationship. And
Right.
so I'll explain what I meant by that. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
Okay.
generally, right, there are, in some cases, there are men who happen to be the more emotional of the two people. But generally, we can say, in the majority of relationships, women are the more emotionally geared person. Okay. And so as a
No.
result, women not only want more emotional connection, they actually need more emotional connection to thrive. Whereas in
Mm-hmm.
men can be blissfully unaware of emotional connections and whatever that are breaking and fracturing around them because they don't place as much importance on emotional connection like women do.
Mm. Really?
So, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
actually,
Well,
or at least the more emotional person, right? So, generally,
no.
in a relationship, you have a more emotional person versus a less emotional person. So, for example, in my
Mm-hmm.
relationship, I
Mm-hmm.
happen to be the less touchy feely emotional person, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, I can go weeks or months with never hugging, holding hands, or kissing. It doesn't occur to me that it's important, right?
Mm-hmm.
I feel just as emotionally connected, just as in touch by a look or a smile, and I'm good with that. I'm good with that for days, right?
Um,
Whereas in my spouse
mhm.
needs a hug sometimes or needs the holding hands, right?
Is
So in
your
our
spouse, is
relationship,
your partner a male or female?
he's a man,
Oh,
but
okay.
he's just
So
the more, like I said, in general, right? And
in
I just
general, oh,
in
but it's in
general,
general,
women,
but in your relationship is the opposite. In my
and I'm
relationship
the
is the
only woman.
opposite.
Right.
Oh,
And I'm
you're
the
the
only
only one.
woman
What?
I know. I'm the
Mm-hmm.
only woman I know where
Uh-huh.
these roles are reversed. In
Well,
general,
then here's another. My mother. I got aunts, auntie. See, so there's something you heard, and that's what you
no, it's
assume.
not something I heard. It's
Even
literally,
in your own relationship, it isn't true. But you state
it's
these things as if
actually,
they're
yeah,
facts.
because it's because of the way that
Uh-huh.
men and women evolve. So it's
Uh-huh.
actually your evolutionary psychology that make men and women geared and better at certain things. Our brains
Mhm.
are wired differently to be
Right.
completing different tasks, right? So when I
No.
say generally, well, yeah. For example, women can see far more shades of color
Right.
generally, right? There are some men who
We
can
just
see
pay
the wider
attention to more
range.
shades of color, and men
No,
just don't.
literally, no, literally, we our brains actually process more
Uh-huh.
shades of, for example, red than men do, right?
Uh-huh.
There's a reason for that, though. It's because when we stopped evolving 10,000 years ago, we were generally the ones who were picking berries. And it was actually important for us to be able to tell the difference of what berries are ripe, which ones are
Mhm.
poisonous, which ones are whatever, by just the littlest shade difference of red. So it's actually
Mhm.
important for
So we
our
was
brains to
paying
be
more
able to see
attention
that.
to it, right?
No, it's not literally that we're paying more attention. It's
Yes.
that
Uh-huh.
you can make
You
a
just
man
gave the
focus.
example. You said women were the ones picking the berries and men weren't. So women, we had to notice the various differences in the colors. So that is exactly what I said. We pay more attention to details of colors, and that's why the men don't see them. They don't notice the different shades because they don't care. Blue is blue to them.
Well, it's more than just the fact that they don't care. It's that if you put two very, very subtle, like half a chromosome difference of colors in front of a man's face and say, are these the same or different? They will say that they're the same because their brain literally sees it as the same. Whereas in we will see
That's
it as
not true
different.
neither. They found, look, the things you're saying is things that I've heard people say back in the day, but they've done studies on these things, and this is
Yes,
not
they've done
true.
a lot of
Now,
studies on these things.
we yes, we do think differently than men. That is true because we deal with one side of our brain, they deal with the other. We come together, we make a whole. That's what women and men do, right? But some of the
No,
things that y'all put out there is utterly ridiculous. And then when women repeat same thing that some of these men
I'm
are
not
putting
repeating
out there,
anything that
the
men said.
gatekeeper,
This
have
is
you
from
defined the word
my
gatekeeper yet?
education. This is
Have you
from my
defined?
education.
Okay,
This is
well
from
then,
studying
but then it's
psychology,
sad.
neuroscience, and
Have you
behavior for
defined the word
6 years.
gatekeeper yet?
Because I didn't get there because we got stopped a lot along the
Oh,
way.
I mean, it's just one word. I mean, or it could be it's one word or
So
two words put together to make one
yeah,
word.
but when you're
Gatekeeper.
talking about a definition that involves multiple words, right? You could sit
Uh-huh.
there and try to take each word out of context, or you could look at the full definition of these two words together,
Uh-huh.
which is what I'm talking
I'm
about.
quite sure I went to college way before you.
I'm
So
sure
I
you did.
understand that. Okay, so
Okay.
it's a compound word. Okay, so now, so when you said that women are the gatekeepers,
Mm-hmm.
so tell me, so I'm in a relationship with a man, right? Where we decided we're gonna come together, we're gonna have children, we're gonna have emotions together. You know, one of them might have more emotions than the other, whatever that crap that I put out. So how is it that I, the woman, just because I have a vagina, how is it that I am the gatekeepers of how the emotions in this relationship? How is that my on me? And even when you said in your relationship where your mate is more emotional than you, how is it that you are in charge of all the emotions in the relationship?
Um,
Okay.
hi, hello,
Hi.
Greetings.
greetings. Sorry to interrupt, but
Hello.
can I
No, go
answer?
ahead.
Ruby. Can I answer that question?
Yeah, go
Sure,
ahead.
go ahead.
Basically, women are the gatekeepers because they control access in the relationship.
Access. So
Yes.
we control access to emotions in a relationship. That's that bull crap that I've heard you men say. Now explain it. Don't just use the word access. Tell me, how do I control my access to my husband's emotions? Cause see, he has them, you know. Now I do understand that little
Whoa, whoa,
boys
whoa, wait,
get
wait, wait, wait.
some.
Hold on. Because women have the ability to manipulate emotions too.
Okay, and men do
I'll give you an
too.
example. I'll give you an
Do men
example.
do it as well?
I'll give you an example.
You
Okay.
could give me an example, but are you saying that men do
Oh,
not do the same thing?
all right. Bomb Cherry.
I'm
We all can
asking you a
sing together.
question.
We all can't talk together. Let me
Okay, I
explain, please.
asked you a question though. Why
And I,
would you answer a question that we know everybody knows has to be a fact? Some
well,
women will do that.
here's a problem.
Do are men capable as well?
Hold on. I'm giving an example.
Yeah,
When
I
I
don't need an example. I asked you. Listen, you could give me an example of all the women you've dealt with who manipulated your emotions. My question is this:
Okay, here's the
yes,
bad part. It's not a bad
I
thing.
concede that women can manipulate emotions. My question to you is this: can men manipulate emotions as well?
They can, but not as good as women.
Okay, well, I don't know. I mean, make women control your emotions better than men,
No,
right?
no, no, no,
And
no,
men
no.
control my emotions better than women do. So see how simple that was? You're
That's a
saying
straw man
one doesn't.
argument.
No, what you mean as a straw man? You are a
We're
male,
going in
so
circles here.
males. No, yeah, because your argument is circular, and I'm glad you used that word. We're going in circles. Your argument, just just the argument alone, is circular. I am saying that men and women are the same. Depending on the relationship, one may have more emotions than the other, and it has nothing to do with their sex. It has to do with who they are, how they was raised, and all kinds of things, right? So when you say that women can control your emotions better than men, then I would concede and say yes. And then I am
All right.
saying that men manipulate my emotions more than any women. Women can't even manipulate my emotions, but a man can, and a man has.
Okay. And none of this was what I was saying for the record. Like, none of this
Right.
is what
No,
I
I
meant at
understand what you
all.
said.
Okay.
No, yeah, you're different. Yeah, he just went off because he wanna, you know. But no, okay. So back to you, Ruby. What you were saying, sis? Go ahead.
Okay. So, what I meant, right? And again, maybe it's not your experience. The research suggests it, right? And generally my experience suggests it as well. But then we'll take the word woman and say the more emotional one in the relationship is the gatekeeper to the emotional health of the relationship. Okay. And what I'm saying that to say this, they are the more emotional one. They are the one who needs the emotional connection and the strength of that emotional connection to be healthy and positive and maybe a little bit more frequent in order for them to feel happy, safe, secure, bonded, and for them to function at their best. So
Mm,
because they're the ones who need it the most, It's
Mm-hmm.
on them, really, for them, if they're not getting what they need, for them to address it, because the spouse who doesn't need it is not going to be bringing it up. I don't think we hug enough, or I don't think we kiss enough. If Because for them, they're not going to miss it. They're not lacking it. They think that other things are doing the job of connecting you and making you feel emotionally, secure just fine. So until you say something about it, right? Until you say, hey, listen, we're not getting enough of this for me to feel 100%, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then you're not going to get it. So that's what I meant by that.
Okay, so you mean a person, whether it's a man or woman, is in charge of their emotional health, and they should reach out and communicate that to their partner, whomever that is. So that's different, though, than saying that women are the gatekeepers, because a gatekeeper is the person who's in charge. A gatekeeper is the one who controls how things flow back and forth, whatever it is that they're in charge of. And if I have to go to someone and ask them, can you please give me something? Then that means I'm not in control of it. See,
But,
I'm in control of my emotions, yes, but I can't be in control of something that I have to go to someone else and plead for, or even ask for, because the gatekeeper is the one who controls things.
but the point
So
is that if
your
you never
definition,
ask, Bob Karen,
what you just said is the opposite of what you said earlier. You cannot be in control of something that you have to go to someone and ask
but
them to
think
give
about it
you.
this way. If you never ask, right, then that
Right.
flow never increases.
But
Never
I
increases.
get that, and that's true, but that still isn't the same thing as what you stated when you said that the
So
women are
no,
the gatekeepers.
but here, hold on, because remember what I said, the gatekeeper of emotional health and well-being
Okay?
of the relationship. Hold on. Okay, so hear me out, right? So if you, first of all, if you never say, I'm not getting enough, that that flow never increases. That tap never gets turned up because
Maybe,
he
maybe
assumes
not.
that the dribble, well, he assumes the dribble's fine because he's fine. Because if he wasn't fine, there's a good chance, just like you should say something, he should say something, right? Okay. The
You don't
second
always
thing,
have to
though,
speak, but go ahead.
the second thing,
Mm-hmm.
though, that's important is that if you're the one who's not getting your emotional needs fulfilled and met, then
Mm-hmm.
you're in lacking, which means that your emotional health of the relationship can't
Mm-hmm.
be healthy because your emotional health needs are not being met.
Uh-huh.
So therefore, if you never say anything, then the relationship might be functioning just fine.
Mm-hmm.
However, the emotional health of your relationship will be low because your emotional health needs are not being met.
How long you
So
been
that's
with your partner? How long y'all been married?
11 years.
11 years. And so you and your partner, y'all deal with, where this thing where your emotional, like the things you're saying, like, is that how you function in these 11 years? Because it sounds more like
It's not
robotics.
robotic. It's just
Uh-huh.
explaining an underlying concept, which is, again, that if you're emotionally miserable
Uh-huh.
and you know that your partner who loves
Uh-huh.
you would probably do the things you need if you were
Uh-huh.
to speak about it, and you're just hoping that they figure it out and they
Uh-huh.
never figure it out, then you're going to continue to be miserable
Right.
until you say something and say, I need more. I need XYZ. Can you please give this to me? So that way, emotionally, your needs can be met. And then,
Uh-huh.
therefore, you can feel better. And therefore,
Uh-huh.
overall, you both will feel better and you definitely will be functioning better. Like it's not about robotics, it's just literally life.
That's really not, that's really usually somebody in the relationship knows that things isn't right. Like my husband could tell that I'm not happy. Like the young lady who wrote in, I'm quite sure her partner knows that she's not happy. He probably just don't know how to help her, or he may have suggested many of the things that we all have here, right? So he knows if she's miserable. So you don't always have to voice it. It's not always as robotic, and you sound like these men here on YouTube who has never been in a relationship as they talk about relationships and tell people how relationships are supposed to be and what women are in control of and what they aren't control of. And what's funny is that you yourself said in your relationship that your mate is the one who's more emotional than you are, and yet you're one of the people who are expressing that women are the gatekeepers of their emotions. In fact, what happens is we are all responsible for our own emotional health, our health, and everything. And our partners, hopefully, they're along with the journey. If I am one of those people who really get depressed, okay, I suffer from depression. I can go into a deep depression, and my husband may not even never notice it. He may not even know, right? Because I'm not one of those emotional people who go on and need a hug and want to go and talk and kiss. He's more kissy kissy than I am. See, so now you know two of us. There's two of us who not
Okay.
really. Wow, and I'm quite sure if you go around and talk to women, you'll find that there are more out. We find that our men are more needy than we are.
Well, you know what? I'm going to say this in the case of, because we are not actually talking about generalized statements, right? We're talking about this particular woman who literally has mentioned again and again that the lack of seeing her husband and having that quality time with him and having those family traditions with him and whatever is really, really hurting her. So,
Right.
in the case of this particular letter, right?
Mm-hmm.
Her being the emotional one in the relationship, she said it briefly, and then he said, okay, well, just wait until da 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 happens, and then we'll be able to get back to normal. And what I'm saying to her is she needs to impress upon him the fact that while she understands that some patience is needed and you're not going to be able to see you 24/7, that she needs more, because what she's getting isn't enough, and it is really hurting her.
Right. No, I agree. I agree. And she's expressing it here. Hopefully she's expressed it to him. He may know it. And so I get that. But the general statement about what you said about women are the gatekeepers, and we hear these men say this over and over again. and and it's just so ridiculous. They tell us that we're the reason why we got pregnant because we're the gatekeepers to the sex. And and these are the things that they say, and it make it seem like the gatekeeper. When you think about somebody who's the gatekeeper, there's a person who's in control of everything. These big, broad shoulder men with who smell good and do everything to impress upon us, so we could end up parting our legs. For some reason, they're weak because women are the gatekeepers, and we're the ones who allow them to come, and it's just ridiculous. That's all I'm
Yeah,
saying.
yeah, I
Yeah,
don't like those talking points over
no.
with that because it takes two, and that's
Right.
how that goes. But with this young lady, I'm thinking she might be has always suffered from depression. I
Yeah.
don't, I can't really say that I know that for sure, but I'm wondering.
Sounds like
Um,
she's depressed to me, Sean, based on what I've heard you all say. 'Cause like I said, I didn't hear the whole letter yet. Um, but it sounds like, and then think about it. She has some children, everything happened fast, just like you all said. And right now, and she's in a whole different country. She
yeah,
she has some depression going on.
Oh yeah, and I mean, there is something I wanted to bring up about that, because depression, I suffer from major depressive disorder as well. So, and I think I brought it up on the radio show before, but it's something that it's like a self-defeating process because it makes you want to burrow and hide and push everyone away. And then the fact that you're all alone and you pushed everyone away makes you feel more depressed. And it's kind of a cycle. So she's got to fight against that. It's difficult to do. I
Yeah.
was actually just having this conversation earlier this week with a friend, reminiscing about the time that I did this. So I was like maybe 27, 28. And I said, okay, listen, so I'm trying to deal with my depression in a different way other than drinking my life away. I've quit drinking now. So I'm going to come to your house because you asked me to come, but I'm severely depressed right now. I don't know how I'm going to behave or how I'm going to act or if I'm going to cry or yell. I don't know. I don't know how I'm going to be, but I'm going to come, and I want you not to freak out if I, start crying or whatever. Cause she's like one of those people, she's just not sure what to do when you cry. Like, do I hug you or get you to, I don't know. So I was just like, just treat me like normal. Because I have to get out there and see people, even though it almost feels painful, literally actually painful to see people and smile and whatever. And so she was like, okay. And I showed up, and it was actually it was almost anxiety producing and painful and whatever. But there were times where I genuinely laughed or smiled or whatever. And overall, even though I was exhausted after the day, I will say, feel a modicum better than I would have if I had just stayed home. So it's like, that these things are happening, you're burrowing inside. You don't go outside. It seems like you don't want to interact with anyone. You don't want anyone around except for your husband, your emotional rock, your emotional support system. And he can't be around right now. And it's like, well, yeah, it sounds like symptoms of depression. And the best thing you can do in that case is fight back. You got to get out there anyway. You got to speak to people anyway. You got to do something, like take that
She
control
might
and
need
that
a, I
ownership.
think she might need a mommy and me type of group to find, because she does have
Yes.
young kids. Depression, you're right. Depression can,
Oh
I
yeah.
think, yeah, depression. I think I might be having a bout right now. That's why I'm not doing the lives and things. And
Mm-hmm.
it's almost like I want to do them, but I just don't have the energy.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
so I know right now that that's what I'm going through. I'm going through some depression.
And
Mm-hmm.
I would actually add to that, saying that, it doesn't sound like she left her mother in the best of circumstances either. I think she has unresolved issues with her mother, because she just
Mm-hmm.
picked up and left her mother like that,
Mm-hmm.
which makes me think that there's something going on in her family history that also adds to that depression, and she hasn't gotten therapy or proper care for that either.
Is her mother
Mm-hmm.
ill or something?
Not according to the letter. She
But
Oh,
just when she
just the way that she left her mother that quickly for this
I
guy,
left
right?
my mother too. She's an adult. I went into the army. I left my mother too. We do that, babe. We do that. Yeah.
I hear you, but at the same time, you don't hear her talk much about her mother at all in this entire ordeal, and she's been going through it for years. So it's
Mm-hmm.
you kind of go, wait, what's her relationship with her mother like? Can she even rely on her mother emotionally? And it doesn't seem like she's able to rely on her emotionally. Otherwise, she'd have said, "Hey, I called my mother and I tried to talk this out with her, see if there was anything she could do to help." And it doesn't seem
Mm-hmm.
like her mother is part of her emotional support system.
Our mother probably already. So
Mm.
what happens with our mothers? We call them. They
Hmm.
give us advice. It might not be the advice we want. You know what I'm saying? It might be a little harsh, or it may be what we know is true, but then we'll seek advice from somebody else. We all have had our mothers tell us things we know is true. We just don't want to listen. So,
Well,
so it doesn't mean that she don't have a relationship with her mother unless she said that. But yeah, I sometimes I would get online and ask strange people for advice before I call my mother. Cause see, if I call my mother and express that I'm not happy, the first thing my mother and father would have did was told me to come home. What's wrong? Why you not happy? Come on. You can always come home. And then they would try to convince me to come home. But see, once you're a big girl, you put on your big girl panties, she started having them children. She sound like she don't really want to go home. She just trying to get more um, attention from her husband, right? Trying to figure things out in a strange country.
yeah. No, that's also highly possible there. But I'm just saying that because her mother isn't mentioned much at all, and
But
she
what
was
did she
living
even
with her
talk?
mother
Did she
before.
say? Did she say something about her dad?
No, she didn't talk
No.
about her
No.
dad. And that might
So
be an
what you think
underlying
about
issue
the
too.
dad?
That might be an underlying issue too. Like, was the father in her life?
She
At
never
all.
mentioned a father of her own. She never
Or
had.
siblings or
So now
grandparents. She
she's in
didn't
the
mention
house with these
anyone.
strange men because she's not used to having a father around, and this man's in
Mm-hmm.
her life 24/7 around her and the kids, and she's like, I don't want this man around me. Because you did
Wow.
notice
So
her adverse reaction to both the stepfather and the father of the man.
yeah. Well,
Mm-hmm.
well, here's
She didn't want to be in the home alone with them.
Well, here's another one, right? It may be okay. You know how people say they want something functional, but
Mm-hmm.
when they actually face to face with the functionality, they don't know how to act.
Yeah.
Right?
They
So
don't
think,
recognize it.
yeah, they don't recognize it. So
Yeah.
if you think about it like this, right? She talked about her mom and she just dipped, right? Maybe she talked it over with her mom. You know what I mean? Maybe her mom supported her. We don't know what's going on. But when she gets there and she sees how his family came together, right? And supported him anytime he needs something, they there. They coming together, right? The father no longer married with the mom, but the stepfather's there and all of this other stuff, right? And she said she felt a little type of way because, you know, his mother died, and 6 months later, you know, moved on with the friend and stuff. But he's 72 years old and all this other stuff. Well, they've been knowing each other forever, so you don't know, whatever that was, right? But you're actually seeing a functional, cohesive family of co-parenting because it's a different culture and whatever they're doing, right? And he has this support unit, but she thought she had support until she actually saw what support actually looks like. Healthy support, not enabling of ain't
Mm.
shit, right? And I think she realized that maybe she was enabled her whole life. Not, it wasn't support, but it was enabling, right? And she feels helpless because no one's enabling her boyfriend. They're just helping him just enough and to get where he needs to get to. They're not doing over, they're doing just enough, but he has to show the initiative, right?
I'm gonna have to go read this letter because let me give you the opposite of that. Because
Hmm.
based on what you're saying, it reminds me a little of my story, right? So here I am, I meet my husband. He didn't mention his mother. Like it's crazy how we met, how fast things went. To be honest, we knew each other all of less than 6 months between us meeting and actually getting married. Okay, uh, it was really fast, and it was because I left the post, went somewhere else. We knew that it wouldn't work long term, long distance. So we opted to get married. But anyway, long story short is when we got out of the military and we come to his family, his mother, they still would help my husband whatever he need. But man, when we were staying with them, it was the worst thing. And I was pregnant. I was pregnant. Yeah, it was horrible. And then their family do have the father, and then it was the stepfather who's still with the mother, and it was like strange. Now, different, something different could be like you said, it could be what is healthier than what she used to, or it could be the opposite.
Hmm.
It could be like my husband's family aren't family like my family. Like my family, tight knit, close. You know, everybody's birthday. There's a big celebration on Sundays. All the sisters and brothers got together until they started dying off. And and then I came here, and my children don't even know their cousins. And it's possible one of my children could start dating one of their cousins, and
Okay.
we wouldn't know it until until somebody, until a conversation had with the adults.
Hmm.
So
Mm.
I guess what I'm basically saying is we can read a letter. It would be nice if she would have came on, or if it would have been a letter, we can ask questions. But to just assume, you know, we can only go by what she says. And it sounds like she's depressed. She has a reason to be depressed. But her kids are young, right? They,
Yeah.
hmm.
2 and a toddler.
Oh yeah, yeah. She's running rapid. You know, my grandchild is 1, and man, that's why I haven't been going live too. He got me running this way and that way and this way,
Hmm.
and I love it. Now I'm not arguing about it, but yeah, at the end of the day, I'm like pooped. And it could be I know you younger women who may have children, y'all know, it could be a strain having 2 young kids,
Mm.
and then
You know,
add. I'm sorry, Ruby. Go ahead, sis.
no, sorry, finish your thought.
No, I was saying, and being young, in a strange place. We were in the military, so we've been all over the place. The good thing is, I didn't have children when we was doing all of that.
Mm. Which
So
is, I mean, it's a good point. The not having children when you're out there and exploring and discovering. But I think also, being able to do that together. I think she imagined a lot more togetherness, which is why she mentioned the family tradition of having dinner every night together, no matter what. It was
right,
like you have this one thing you guys hold on to, and then, you move and replace everything with this foreign land and foreign everything and people who I don't understand. And then you take away the things that I hold dear and I treasure. And, that kind of fueled us. We made those decisions together, that we have this tradition. I told
mhm,
you it was something important to me. And then, you kind of cast it to the wayside. And I think that, she's kind of floundering with that. And I think it does, of course, having the depression make it more difficult um, to recognize when something is internal, like it's about the depression, and something is external, as far as like, no, I think any reasonable person would say I should see you more than 1 hour a week, you know?
yeah,
And I think maybe that's part of the reason why she's kind of writing in, because she wants to know, like, is me feeling a little bit alone and isolated and abandoned, am I being reasonable here? Which I would say, yeah, a little bit. I kind of hear, you can't expect too much, but I do think that it's important for you to have some type of day, even if it's one day a week, where you're really, devoted to each other, maybe half an hour a day, just some time that you can hang on to, like you did with the tradition of dinner,
mhm,
where you're going to see each other and spend that quality time and have those discussions. And I guess most importantly, do it just the two of you, not with this third party kind of listening. And so it's not like, intimate talk between, lovers. It's intimate talk with, your lover and his father. Like, that's how intimate you get, right? That's
you
so
know what
personal
though?
then.
Um, the one thing that I was holding on to starting a family was I wanted us all to eat dinner at a table.
Mm,
All of us. Maybe is it a black thing? I'm not sure. Uh, but that was one of the things, the traditions I just always said. Yes, we're going to eat at the table together, always and forever. But that didn't work out. You know what I mean? And
mm,
I was a little salty for some years too. In fact, sure, we had a dining room table ever since forever. When you get married and you get your furniture placed, you get a bedroom set, you get that dining room set, and you get your living room set, right?
Yes.
Those are the things you get. I've had a dining room set ever since me and my husband first got married, and I don't think my husband, and the children have ever eaten at it together, except on the holidays where we force, like Christmas, Thanksgiving. And
Right.
I finally got rid of that table. It was a nice table, long table for I got rid of it last year so I could put my sewing stuff in that room. And my husband was mad. And I told him, I looked at him, I said, baby, we ain't never eat at this table. we, we just got it and it's just taking up space.
hmm But I'm gonna say this: it's the symbol. It's the symbol thing of it, right? It's the symbol thing of it, right? And to be honest with you, it's like and I'm gonna say this from a man's perspective, right? Like the first thing I did when I got like my house and stuff, it was the table, right?
Right,
And my thing with my family was I get to sit at the head of the table.
right.
That's a tradition. I sit at the head of the table. Don't touch my seat, right?
mm,
You got all the closets. You got all the space in the house. I was talking about this with Sheed. As a man, when you get married, 75 to 85% of the closet space in the house belong to the women.
mm,
That's what it is, right? But when that table was gone, right? For a man, that's a symbolization that says, my kids ain't here no more. Because
Mm-hmm.
I sit at the head of the table, my sons and my family sit around me, right?
Mm-hmm.
And whenever I have a guest or an older person there, like my father, my another man, but he's my elder, he sits at the other end of the table, or I'll surrender my seat to him, as a courtesy. But when that table's gone, your manlyhood or something, your castleness. It's
Oh
gone.
no.
Oh
It's
man, I gotta
gone.
get the table back.
You
God
gotta get the table back, Mom. The table gotta come back. You know what I'm
But
damn.
can't
saying?
you just get like a recliner or something? Don't like
No.
men have like that one comfy, super expensive recliner or something in the living room, and that's their chair. When they're home, no one else can sit on that. Can't you just use that instead? Like, what's wrong with the recliner?
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
man.
No. But that's how two spots. That's on two spots, right?
Oh, you need
Is
two.
is
Sorry.
you,
Okay.
no. You got
Or
the recliner. Yo, see the recliner. See,
it's gonna be all right. We'll get you another table.
see. Let me. No. I do got a question. I do got a question to ask y'all though. Right. So, Bomb, do you have any type of glass tables in your house?
Um, no, I got rid of that. But we
See,
used to have
see,
our dining room table. Used to be the biggest glass
see,
table.
see. It's a black person thing. See, I got a dining room table and it's glass. See, black people always got to have that glass table in the house, either the dining room table or the end table,
In
the living
tables
room.
and shit. Yeah. You know
I
what?
I concur.
You know, so I was on somebody's stream walking through my living room maybe about 3 years ago, right? And they accused me of not having any furniture in my house, in the living room. And I was like, what are you talking about? They were like, your empty ass living room. So I pointed at the couch and the love seat. That's all I have in there. The TV, couch, love seat. And I guess they consider it empty because I ain't have any end tables or that big main table in the middle. Like I didn't want all that. But you know, that's what we do in the black neighborhood. We furnish your shit up. The walls be packed with plaques and little whatnots and mirrors and pictures, and I didn't want to do all of that though. I want,
A Hole Corner shouts out, several people who have their walls bare.
No,
yeah,
no,
I'm one of the people.
Mhm.
no,
I
now
used
I
to have
do
a
got a
wall bear.
question. Now I do got a question for you, Bomb. Right
Mm,
now, I thought that it was weird. Right, you know what I'm saying? I have never been in a woman's house. You know what I'm saying? That's single, and she didn't have pictures on the walls. I thought that was really weird.
yeah.
That's weird, right?
It is kind of weird, but you know, I went a different route than my mom and my grandma. Like they used to buy, I'm not sure if Shaw probably know, what it used to be called, Shaw, where they used to have parties and they would buy the pictures of frames and things like that. Um,
I know
and
what you're talking about.
home interior. That's what it was called. Remember home interior? And it used to be like Avon, but it was a book for uh things for the
A
house.
catalog. Yeah, I remember
Yeah.
that.
Yep. So my parents and my mom used to have all that shit. In fact, I got a couple of
Hmm.
pieces of hers downstairs now. That stuff older than I am, but you couldn't tell. But I just didn't want my walls just filled up um like that. So I went the opposite route. Mine looked like it's like I just haven't put shit up, but I just
Like it's like rebellion. You're gonna rebel against the old ways, right? Like
Yeah,
in Jamaican old school houses. Now I can't say about America, but Jamaican old school houses, right? So your grandma, your auntie, everyone's got it. Your regular living room and where people actually do stuff is
Mhm.
pretty, like, I won't say it's bare, but it's you got a couch, love seat, TV, maybe a couple end tables, you're fine. But there's
Mm,
always one room in the house that's literally for show. Like I don't
yeah,
even they put this couch in there that's uncomfortable as hell. I guess it looks pretty and it's uncomfortable as hell, and it has this plastic on it. And
yep,
they never take the plastic off the damn couch, right? And you're not allowed to sit on the couch. It ain't for you, right? As you're
yep,
growing
yep.
up, it's for guests and whatnot. And you got the china cabinet, as you said, full of all the stupid knickknacks that takes 17 hours to clean, that no one looks at and no one cares about. But you, as a child, always have to clean it.
That's
Every
it.
time you go to
Yep.
grandma's house, someone gives you a dust rag and the sun, you gotta clean that,
Right.
right?
No,
It's
no, no.
foolishness.
You break out the feather duster around it. You better not break anything.
Yep.
Right? You better be careful with that. Oh my God, they will kill you. It's like this room that is just full of nonsense that no one's allowed to touch or use. It's all for show, and it takes 10 billion hours to clean. That's what
Clean.
happens.
No, we had the family room and the living room, right? And
Yep.
there were two separate rooms.
Mhm.
And you know that room with the plastic over the chairs and stuff. Yep, yeah.
That
Yeah.
was the living room. Yeah, that's the main living room right there, the showroom.
Yeah, you know, you got all the china. You got the wooden thing, the wooden cabinet that has all the nice porcelain
China
stuff
cabinet. Yep.
that's gonna break.
Yep.
And you know, they say you better not even look so much as put a ball in that room.
Yeah.
Ever.
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 Mhm.
Right?
They used to put the Christmas tree in there, right? But we couldn't go in there. But they didn't put the Christmas gifts in there because we couldn't go in there.
Hold
Yeah,
on. I got a
that was
question though.
trigger my childhood.
I got a question though, right? Because I noticed, right? My grandmother had landmines. She could tell who was in that living room, right? And
Oh,
I
yeah.
figured it out what the landmine was. It was that big Bible with the autographed Jesus on the front, right? And-
Oh, yeah, that big Bible was in that room.
yeah,
Sure was.
and if that Bible, like, because she would put it in some place where she knew you was going to have to brush against it, and if the dust came off of it in some which way, you was in her room, you was in her living room.
Mm.
Oh, no.
Jesus was snitch on you.
He was snitching on you. Oh, that makes sense. Because I always wonder how they knew we went in there. Like, they always knew who been in my living room. Like, goddamn. Like, we.
But they but they would tell you.
Mysterious.
They would tell you it's like God told me that you was in my living room.
Mhm. Oh, it's so true. And like the worst part is, right? God forbid being the child that's at the house that accidentally broke something because you missed the catch, and so the ball
Oh,
bounced and then hit the vase that no one's allowed to touch, and then it falls and it breaks.
oh.
Scatter like roaches. We're gone. We're in any room, but anything near that room. I have no idea how it broke. None. One.
Man, if I was my grandchild, I would not be alive. My grandchild walked downstairs, picked up one of my whatnots, and just threw it to the ground. Bam!
Oh boy.
No.
And I just
Mm.
Oh,
looked at him and I said, "Oh, it's okay, baby. I wanted to cry, but it's my." And then I said it was my fault because I shouldn't have had him where he could reach him. But see, y'all know back in the day, and I know you sure you definitely knew. It
Uh-huh.
didn't matter how old your ass was, you better not have to touch it. And then my mom would have got her butt whipped if I would have broke it. I would have got mine whipped. She would have got hers whipped by my grandmother. You know, so we was raised not to touch. We
That's
don't
right.
touch.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and my grandmother had her shit where she wanted to happen, and we couldn't touch.
no.
Right. They weren't moving it for you.
Yeah, I had to
Right.
move all my stuff for my grandchild, man.
Look, Bomb, I saw the most. Look, my cousin. I don't understand how he is alive today. He so he was playing in the hallway, and he was the daredevil cousin. He was always doing extra stuff, right? And he went in there, and we said, "You better not go in there." And he broke something,
Mm-mm.
right? And he broke something of my grandmother's. But her mama gave her that because the oldest of the family, the oldest female of the family, gets it, and she broke it, right? And her mama gave it to her, and her mama's mama, and her mama's mama gave it to her, and it was broken. When my
Mm-mm.
grandmother came down the stairs, right, and she said she called Lord. She when I knew when my grandmother was mad when she would cuss and pray all in the same sentence and cuss again.
Mm.
And
Mm.
and, and she said this. I'm sorry to say this, child. She said, "Listen here, Mr. Nigga, get out my house." Right,
Oh.
right, like
Somebody mentioned that fart. Anybody else said that spoon and fart in the living room?
yeah.
Oh. Mm-hmm.
And the
It wasn't even in our kitchen. That shit was on the living room wall. Sharp.
Yo, listen. She was when she told him to leave. Right, my cousin hit the door. Right, he was gone. Right, he was gone until his parents came home. He was outside. when he came in the house, right? He said basically, grandmama, I'm sorry. My grandmother told my aunt, you gonna beat him
Damn.
until I feel satisfied, and if you don't, I'ma beat you.
Oh boy.
Oh, goodness.
And we was like, and my aunts and my mama was there, was like, what did he do? And she's told her what he broke. Every last one of my aunts and my mama joined in to a community ass whipping.
Oh, it must have been something that was long. It was old.
Yeah, it was.
It was family. Yeah. Oh.
So what it was this thing that my great grandmother got, right? They got because they had a farm down in South Carolina, right? And basically what happened was they had some problems with white folk, and her daddy died over this dispute over this, I guess what it was. And and then my great grandfather with his brothers ran up on a white man, went in that house with guns and took it back.
Oh.
Right. So and when he took it back, he told my grandmother, my great grandmother, if I give you this, you better marry me. And that was the wedding gift.
Oh.
And that's so that holds precedence basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
So he caught that out.
Yeah, he got that. He deserved. He deserved an ass whipping and breaking.
Yeah.
He was playing ball in the house, huh?
Well, he got a slavery ass whipping. That's what he got.
That was awful.
That was all. Yeah, you stay out of grandma's living room.
I know that's right. Don't even look in there. Shit.
Right?
Well,
That room don't exist. You better not touch it. Don't go into it. Don't breathe in it. Nope.
yeah, it's not
We
a
only
part of the
exist
house.
Yep.
Exactly.
It only exists, like you said, Ruby, when we gotta clean it, when they need all that dusting.
Yes, exactly.
Then you're worthy.
Right. And the first time you're excited because you finally get to go in there, you can examine the stuff and whatever, right? By like the third time, you're over it though. Like, I'm not allowed in there. Why don't you do it yourself? I said that once. I didn't make that mistake again of making suggestions to my grandma, right? I can make suggestions to my parents. They just ignore me and I still got to do it. My grandma? No, I found out the hard way. You don't make suggestions to her. She told you to do something? How dare you insult her by making a suggestion otherwise? My bad. It happened again.
You have an accent. What is your are you Haitian or
I'm Canadian Jamaican.
Jamaican? Okay, yeah, you have an accent. So you in Canada?
I am in Canada, yeah.
Oh, okay.
I have an accent, really. I've never heard anyone say I have an accent that's like islandy. Oh, I feel all right then. Oh, thank you.
When you say certain things, I can tell. Yeah.
Oh, you know what? I have heard that. My cousins in Jamaica say that. Like, I should learn how to speak patois because every once in a while I'll say a word and it's on point. They're like, you can do it. But if I try like a whole sentence, no, it doesn't work out so well.
Must be like my singing, but that's okay. I'm gonna keep trying.
No, I definitely like your singing.
Well, speaking about my singing, I'm going to play the commercial on the way out because I want you guys to check us out on Wednesday nights for Keep the Beat. You have a lot of fun. You got gifts and emojis, and we be twerking in the chat room, having a great old time over on Classic R&B Jams. Now, as far as for tonight, I want to thank everyone for tuning in. Thank you so much for contributing to the channel. Your like button, your time, your watch time, your conversation, all that is valuable to me. So I want to thank you so much for that. And I hope to see you guys tomorrow for article reactions. It's at 6:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. And until tomorrow, everyone, peace.
Bye,
Cheers,
everybody.
y'all.
She kicks us all fast.
This is Char Willie from the JustAskChar Advice Channel. Join me and Classic Ruby for a radio segment called Keep the Beat. We broadcast every Wednesday night at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time from Classic R&B Jams, CRBJ. We interact with the audience in the chat room where you'll have access to emojis, gifts, and the lively conversation. Press the icon that is a speaker, then press play radio. After a 15-second commercial, all the fun will begin. If you miss the live broadcast, you can listen to the replays from Mixcloud. Follow my channel on Mixcloud, JustAskChar Advice Channel, and you will receive notifications when the show has been uploaded. We hope to see you soon, and until then, enjoy this